Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the people's channel, home of the Bit Squad, largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. No channel works harder to keep you in the know about crypto. My name is Ben. This is a Sunday drive video. We used to drive to church and tell you what was going on in crypto, but I've been riding with the family. They don't really like when I'm doing videos in there. So I just got back from church, heading to the park to go do a little run. That's right, I do. I run a 5K about 4 or 5 times a week. So going to the park to do that. I don't know, maybe we'll do a 10K today. We'll see what happens. But I want to talk to you guys about what's going on in the markets right now, because Bitcoin is very, very, very clearly having a hard time getting above 20,000. I really want to take this time. This isn't going to be that long of a video. I just had a tweet about this on Friendster, on Twitter. Just tweeted about this on Twitter. You guys can go there and check that tweet out, where I gave a little history lesson. I want to break that down a little bit for you guys. If you are a person who believes the bottom is in, then you need to be very concerned. And of course, you guys know I do not believe that the bottom is in. I believe the bottom will be somewhere between, maybe 13.5 to 15. Obviously, 10 to 14 is the range we've been calling for. So I'm really looking somewhere in the 13s. Could certainly go down $10,366. That is 85% drawdown. Your bears out there are telling you $3,000, $7,000, yada, yada, yada. That is not going to happen. I don't see any way that it goes below the 9s. It could hit the high 9s, but that's where I see it. And when do we expect that? We are on bottom watch right now. It could happen any day, but most likely after the midterm elections, before the end of the year, really depending on what happens on that Fed meeting in December. We could see a bottom following the Fed meeting, which would still be about, it'd put it in the 6-week range after the midterm elections, I believe, 5 to 6 week range. Traditionally, 3 to 5 weeks after midterm elections is when we see the bottom. So a lot of people are out there telling you this. The bottom is in, and here's why. Because obviously Bitcoin is holding support at 18.5. It's not going below that. It's tested it so many times. We went back below 19 a day. It's holding the $18,000 range. Technically, there shouldn't even be a lot of support in that range, as we didn't close below 19,000 until recently. However, it is holding that range despite not really having any support. Now, of course, as we've been here for a while, it has now started, putting signs of support up. Now we do have some support levels. We didn't have them before. It should have kind of plunged. Now, this is what I'll tell you guys. What this kind of feels like to me is 2018. Now, in 2018, the price of Bitcoin went obviously from $20,000 in December of 2017 all the way down to $3,200 in December of 2018. The reason why it dropped so low, there was this thing called the hash wars between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. But the long and the short of it is it did go that low. Now, a lot of people were telling you from basically the summer on that the bottom for Bitcoin was 6,000 or maybe the high 5s. And the reason is because similarly to now, it was showing a lot of support at that level. And so people thought, well, it's tested it multiple times. It's just not going to go below it. People are excited. Well, all it took was one kind of negative event to plunge it below that number. And when Bitcoin plunged below $6,000, within 1 month, it dropped almost 50% at 3,200. And this is kind of what I can see playing out right now. What I can see is we get some kind of event. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it's Fed news. Maybe it's, who knows what it is, yada, yada, yada. And what we could see is we could see that gigantic drop that people are looking for and people have been calling to. A 6,000 drop to 3,200 would be similar from like this is just rough, from like a 20,000% drop down to the $10,500, $11,000 range. Definitely in the realm of possibility. I just want you guys to really be careful about people that are telling you the bottom is in. There's a lot of people that are telling you the bottom is in because they want the bottom to be in, and they're looking for that confirmation bias. They're looking for that echo chamber to tell them that they're right. Unfortunately, we just don't have any evidence right now. If you look at the macroeconomics, if you look at the charts, if you look at the history of Bitcoin, the 4-year cycles, you'll see there's nothing to indicate that the bottom is in. So we are on bottom watch, though. It could happen any day. I don't think it's going to happen for about 2 months. You guys be smart. keep some dry powder on the sidelines if we do get that big drop, so you guys can go on in there and, make some moolah. You take some stable coins, put it over into crypto. That could definitely be something that you can, take advantage of if we do get that big drop, because with every big capitulation drop, you usually do get a recovery wick that can, sometimes be up to a 50% gain overnight. We definitely have seen that over and over and over again in crypto. Now, in 2018, we did not get that kind of capitulation candle. When we dropped down to 3,200, we actually hovered in the threes for quite a while. But traditionally, you will see big wicks up, at least on the monthly. But I do think we will see. I think when the bottom hits, when the capitulation candle hits, I think you'll know it. Be on the lookout for it. We are on Bottom Watch 2022. All right, guys, that's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.